Hi dear friends and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. This is your host Ram, wishing you all a very happy and a prosperous new year filled with lots of cricket. Well, the international cricket calendar in the new year on the 1st of January 2014 kicked off in brilliant style with Corey Anderson Corey Anderson of New Zealand actually going on to hit the fastest century in one-day internationals. He broke the world record that was set by the Pakistani, the current Pakistani batsman Shahid Afridi, who actually hit a century, as you would remember, against Sri Lanka of 37 deliveries against 37 deliveries at the Nairobi Gymkhana ground. Well, one would really remember that. That was 17 years. So Shahid Afridi, Pakistan, was holding the record for 17 years. And what a way! Who would now forget the New Year's, the 1st January 2014, which will be etched in memory in the annals of cricket history, as Corey Anderson tore apart all the records and went on to now hold the world record for the fastest century in one-day international cricket by slamming a century of just 36 deliveries against the West Indies here at Queenstown, at a picturesque ground which overlooks the lot of mountains. And look at the money's worth the spectators had. Even though it was a truncated affair, that was the third one-day international. It didn't go the whole distance because of rain. Play had to be the match had to be restricted to 21 overs, and Corey Anderson did it in fine style. Just talking about this match, it was New Zealand actually winning the third one-day international by 159 runs. It was, in fact, not only that Corey Anderson hit 131 unbeaten runs of just 47 deliveries with 14 fours and 6 sixes, just coming to that record which was set by Rohit Sharma against Australia when he actually hit a double century. It was 16 sixes that Rohit Sharma of India did, but Corey Anderson failed in that record by hitting only 14 sixes. But what a knock! And just talking about Corey Anderson, so today the whole cricket show, I would say the new year in 2014 has really heralded a new star in Corey Anderson. And not only that, what a start to the new year in the international cricket calendar, with the New Zealand batsman, the young New Zealand batsman Corey Anderson, slamming the West Indies bowlers to all parts of the ground and going on to a world record in one-day international cricket by slamming the fastest century in one-day international history. Congratulations to Corey Anderson. He was the man of the match as New Zealand racked up 283 for 4 of their 21 overs after batting first. But one should also remember, Corey Anderson was not the only person who did it. In the sense, Corey Anderson definitely scored a century, but what it did, in a score of 283 for 4, it really put that attacking innings from Jesse Ryder absolutely into the shade, as Jesse Ryder was the other person who hit the 6th fastest century in one-day international history yesterday by making 104 runs of 51 deliveries with 12 fours and 5 sixes. Just talking about this partnership, they came together when New Zealand was struggling at a score on 84 for 3 when Ross Taylor left. In fact, they lost, the first wicket to go was Martin Guptill, who was caught by Ramadhan of the bowling of holder for 1. Brendan McCullum left for making 33 useful runs of just 11 deliveries, 3 fours and 3 sixes. And then Ross Taylor departed to the pavilion, caught Powell bowled Miller for 9, and that was it. All the ones 84 for 3 in the 8th over, and after that, that was only fireworks you could be seen in the balance, I would say, 12 to 13 overs, as Jesse Ryder and Corey Anderson, the world record holder, absolutely tore apart this West Indies bowling attack to shreds. In fact, just talking about the way Corey Anderson batted, yes, one would probably think that Queenstown is a very small ground with short boundaries, but let me tell you one thing here, dear fans, friends and subscribers. The stroke that Corey Anderson played was all perfect cricketing shots. It was hit with immense power, absolute timing, and it would have carried for sixes on any part of any cricket ground, according to me. And I think Corey Anderson has really put a fright now, because what he has done is slammed the fastest century in one-day international history. And the strokes that he played was an absolute marvelous. Sometimes he used to just stand over there and strike the ball with tremendous velocity. And he was also timing the ball very well. In fact, if you look at his strokes, there was not any slam bang hitting. It was all clean hits, absolutely clean as a whistle, as Tony Gregg, the commentator, always calls it. It was hit clean as a whistle, and were all clean hits, direct hits. I mean, he went after the way he went after the New Zealand bowlers. Sunil Narine was disappeared over the wickets 4 times in a single over, where Sunil Narine's bowling figures, and Sunil Narine, as you know, is one of those bowlers who actually has really given headaches to a lot of batsmen in international cricket. And Sunil Narine was treated with absolute disdain by Corey Anderson as he smashed him for 50 runs in 4 overs with only 1 wicket to his name. Ravi Rampal would have definitely forgotten bowling by the way he bowled yesterday. 3 overs went for 64 runs with Corey Anderson slamming Ravi Rampal for 4 consecutive sixes in a single over in the batting power play. And just looking at that sixes that he hit, the first one was short and wide. It was put over extra cover for a 6. Now hitting over extra cover for a 6 is something pretty stupendous, because only a great batsman can do that. And then we saw him hitting one absolute flick of his wrist over the fence, and the other one was a real monster hit, and it went high and handsome, as the New Zealand commentators Brian Wardle would have called it, and it went sailing over the stands for another 6, over into the grass banks, and it disappeared. The ball just disappeared. After that, there was one more shot which just stood there and just slammed him straight down the ground for a 6. And as I said, Corey Anderson was absolutely in his element. It was, and not what a start in the new year for Corey Anderson, this left-handed batsman, and young batsman, and I'm sure he has already announced announced his century with such a huge statement here. And Corey Anderson, I'm sure, is going to give shivers down the spines of all the bowlers, because the way he was hitting the ball, let me tell you, he was hitting it clean as a whistle, direct hits, and it was all hit powerfully, as I said, with lots of timing. So if one could have seen Shahid Afridi when he played that century, when he hit in the one-day internationals at Sri Lanka against in the Nairobi Gymkhana ground. It was all Shahid Afridi is a person who actually likes to tear the leather of the ball, but Corey Anderson, let me tell you, he played cricketing shots, perfect cricketing shots, and this partnership blossomed like anything. From an 84 for 3, let's look at what Corey Anderson and Jesse Ryder did. As I said, I can only talk about Corey Anderson, and not only that, this happened for 17 years. This record stood in the name of the swashbuckling player Shahid Afridi, but now it belongs to a New Zealand player, Corey Anderson, who is a real player for the future. Not only that, he also equaled another record, and that was in List A cricket. The fastest century which was scored was by Graham Rose, who hit a 36-ball century against Somerset in 1990. Now, as I said, when I was talking about Corey Anderson, I definitely put Jesse Ryder's century into the shade. But Jesse Ryder also made a 46-ball 100, which was it was the 7th in the list of quickest hundreds, I am told. And as I said, well, I've already spoken about Ravi Rampal going for 64 runs in 3 overs. And this partnership was absolutely electric partnership. 191 runs were added for the 4th wicket, and this was the 4th highest for a partnership partnership in ODIs. Well, let me tell you that this was 190 run partnership belonged to Scott Styris and Ross Taylor against India at Dambulla and Sri Lanka, but it was all grounded to the dust by this Anderson and Ryder partnership for the 4th wicket, which had 191 runs. They went at a clip of 15.28 runs per over. It was absolutely scintillating stuff. It was absolutely electric atmosphere here at Queenstown when the sixes were slammed absolutely right, left and center, and 22 sixes. There were 22 sixes hit in this. This also broke the record which was standing in the name of India and Australia recently, which was set when the Rohit Sharma went on to hit the double century. 19 sixes was hit. Now the record is for 22 sixes hit in a single one-day international by a single team. What a record, a stupendous record there, I would say. And well, looking at the way the damage that Anderson and Ryder did, And also, let me tell you, when Corey Anderson went on to his century, Nikita Miller was the bowler, and there was only one ball. I'm sure Corey Anderson would have not thought about it. He was on 94 at that stage, 94 or 95. My memory serves me right. He went on to hit Nikita Miller, the left-arm spinner, for a huge six to really go on to that world record for the fastest century in one-day international history. Well, as I said, it's an electric start to the international cricket calendar here in the new year in 2014. You couldn't have expected anything better than that. It was absolutely, as I said, scintillating stuff. And in the past, we have seen centuries come from Virendra Sehwag of India, Shane Watson, Shahid Afridi of Pakistan, Sanat Jayasuriya, John Davison of Canada, and Tilakartne Dilshan. But this was something absolutely special. It really, he went on murdering the West Indian bowlers to all parts of the ground. As I said, it really put into shade the Jesse Ryder's century of 104 or 51 balls with 12 fours and 5 sixes. And thus, that was the time, as I said, Corey Anderson not out 131 of just 47 deliveries, 6 fours and 14 sixes, hit with absolute disdain and absolute power. 283 for 4 was what New Zealand put on the board there on the first day of the new year in 2014. And New Zealand would be definitely hoping that this would be the harbinger of things to come for New Zealand in international cricket. And why not? I wouldn't be surprised if New Zealand are going to upset a lot of apple carts this time, even in the T20 competition which is going to be in Bangladesh. And I think New Zealand are peaking at the real time, I suppose. Absolutely, I have just no words to describe this innings from Corey Anderson. Jason Holder, 4 overs, 2 for 48, was taken to the cleaners. Ram Paul was absolutely murdered, 3 overs for 64 runs. Nikita Miller's 4 overs cost him 44 runs on 1 wicket. Dwayne Bravo, the captain, was in fulsome praise of this innings from Corey Anderson. He said he was unstoppable. 4 overs no maiden, none for 48 for Dwayne Bravo. Lenny Simmons, 2 overs, went for 29 runs. As far as West Indies were concerned, as I said, just talking that excitement, 283 for 4 of 21 overs. As I said, only 21 overs were possible here in Queenstown. 283 for 4 was the final tally, and West Indies ended up with 124 for 5 of their 21 overs, thus losing this one-day international match. Corey Anderson was named man of the match, and New Zealand leveled the series at 1-1. Talking about the West Indian innings, the only thing to talk was Dwayne Bravo, the captain. He went on firing an unbeaten 56 or 54 balls with 3 fours and 3 sixes. Diana Ryan making 29 of 30 balls with 4 fours. Other than that, they lost the top order. In fact, they had to go at a run rate of 13.47 runs per over, but they finally ended up at 5.90 runs per over. They lost Johnson Charles for a blob. Simmons was dismissed for 13. Walton went to the pavilion for 17, and Powell was gone for 1. So 124-5 was the final tally. West Indies losing the rain-restricted one-day international here at Queenstown by 5 wickets. As far as the bowling figures were concerned, and in fact not by 5 wickets, they lost it by a huge margin of 159 runs. Kyle Mills, 2 overs, 1 for 11, 2 wickets for 7 for Mitchell McClenaghan, none for 27 for Nathan McCullum, 4 overs for 13 and 1 wicket for Jesse Ryder, in addition to his batting skills that he showed. Neesham, 4 overs, 1 for 21. Guptill, none for 13. Adam Milne, 2 overs, was very costly. He was taken to the cleaners, 2 overs, 1 for 27. As I said, I had to only talk about Corey Anderson. The New Year's, 1st January 2014, will belong to Corey Anderson of New Zealand, who slammed the fastest century in one-day international cricket history of just 36 deliveries, breaking the 17-year-old world record, which was held by the Pakistani player Shahid Afridi, who had slammed a century of 36. Corey Anderson slammed it in 36 deliveries, and Shahid Afridi had done it in 37 balls. Now that 17-year-old world record was broken on this day, which will remain etched in memory for quite a long time in the annals of cricket history. As I said, January 1, 2014. What a beginning to the international cricket calendar in this new year. And congratulations to Corey Anderson. And Corey Anderson, we are expecting more from you for New Zealand in the years to come. Let's talk about the other match now. That was Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Here I'm going to be very brief because, as I said, I wanted to talk about Corey Anderson's knock. Let's look at the second day's play here in the first test match between Pakistan and Sri Lanka, played at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium here in Abu Dhabi. Pakistan absolutely in the driver's seat, and Sri Lanka would have realized that they missed upon a real opportunity here, because this is a perfect batting wicket. Pakistan started off at 46 for 1 on the second day, with Ahmed Shahzad being joined in by Mohammad Hafiz. Mohammad Hafiz, well, he played some very good boundaries. One was a straight drive, one was a beautiful on drive, and well, Mohammad Hafiz what a catch taken by Kaushal Silva. Now, Kaushal Silva is the wicket keeper of the Sri Lankan team, but because Prasanna Jayawardene is keeping wickets, Kaushal Silva was standing close to the batsman here. In fact, I think he was in the cover region, and Mohammad Hafiz played a stroke which actually it was falling short of Kaushal Silva, but what a catch which was taken to dismiss Mohammad Hafiz. Mohammad Hafiz really couldn't believe it. Kaushal Silva diving full length, stretching his hand and picking the catch inches off the ground of the bowling of Lakmal for 11, which made the score 59 for 2. Ahmed Shahzad contributed 38 with 3 fours before becoming a victim of Eranga. When the ball lifted on him, Ahmed Shahzad got a nick onto it. Karunaratne took the catch. He was gone. So 3 wickets. That was the time it looked like Sri Lanka were trying to really get into this Pakistani batting lineup as quickly as possible when Pakistan were reduced to 83 for 3. But after that, the veterans Yunis Khan and Misbah-ul Haq chiseled together a partnership, and what a shot. That was a record partnership for the 4th wicket, and this was 2 centuries coming in from Yunis Khan. As I said, it was a batting track. Yunis Khan and Misbah-ul Haq showing their experience in full measure, with Yunis Khan going on to equal the former Pakistani batsman Javed Miandad's record of 23 hundreds. Now Yunis Khan has joined that elite group where he has 23 centuries when he made 136 with 19 fours and 1 6. Misbah-ul Haq, the captain, was still unconquered at stumps on 105's 4th test match century with 13 boundaries, and both of them really put the Sri Lankan attack to the sword by playing some marvelous strokes. And well, looking at the way they did it, from 83 for 3, this score rose to gigantic proportions when Pakistan, just closing the day on day 2 at 327 for 4 on the second day here in Abu Dhabi, which Yunis Khan was the other wicket to fall. He was clean bowled by Eranga for 136 with 19 fours and 1 6. Misbah-ul Haq was not out 105 with 13 fours. The partnership had taken the score from 83 for 3, the 4th wicket partnership between Yunis Khan and Misbah-ul Haq, to 301. So you can just imagine how they actually played the Sri Lankan bowlers. Asad Shafiq was not out on 12 with 2 fours. 327 for 4 was what Pakistan closed with on day 2. Looking at the bowling figures, 27 overs, 7 maidens, 1 for 84. Lakmal, Angelo Matthews, 9 overs for 36 runs. Eranga bowled well, 24 overs, 5 maidens, 63 runs and 2 wickets. The spinners couldn't get much purchase out of the wicket. Rangana had the left arm spinner, 31 overs, 9 maidens, none for 77. Sachitra Sen and Naik, the right arm offie, 18 overs, 2 maidens, none for 66. And well, thus ended the new year, the first day of the new year in 2014, where Corey Anderson absolutely dominated the news headlines all over the cricketing world today by hitting the fastest century in one-day international cricket. And what a day it came. It came on the day, it was the New Year's Day, it was the beginning of the new year, and the cricketing fans can't expect anything better than happening like something that happened here in Queenstown, which happened in the match against New Zealand and West Indies. Well, what a beginning for the international cricket in the new year. Thanks to you, Corey Anderson, the world record holder for the fastest century in one-day international cricket history, slamming a century of just 36 deliveries. That brings an end to my Cricket Happening show for today on the first day of this new year 2014, and wish you all a great new year, dear friends and subscribers of Cricket Happenings. Thank you.